So, getting your pitch viral, part 2. Storytelling. So, like Josh says, appearing competent and credible is of course really important when you pitch. Because people, when they go and listen to a pitch, they don't go to see a movie. They go first with a rational intention. And so, like Aristotle says, a human being is a reasonable animal, because as opposed to animals, we have reason, but we are also animals. We have intuitions, and that's what you can work on also. So good pitches makes people understand the problem, the solution, and the talent of the team. That's basically the 3 key points that you have to work on to be understood and believed. But to me, the best pitches make people feel things. And I'm going to explain you what kind of feeling you can trigger. So just basically, why are emotions so powerful, despite the fact that people don't go to see a movie? They think that they want rational informations. And despite that, they really buy stories. Because logic is a language of the conscious mind, so we are really persuaded by reason. But emotions are the language of the unconscious mind. So it's like in the situation when you're trying to convince someone to do something, and he answers, I don't know, I don't feel it. It doesn't mean that he doesn't understand, but he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't know why, because it speaks to its emotions. So really, we are moved by emotions. So how do you remain credible and tell a great story? So there are 3 rules. You don't have to remember them, but just to make it clear. The first rule is to craft your emotions for the audience. What I mean by that is that sometimes your startup can be explained in one way for one type of audience and another way for another type. Maybe you have different kinds of clients. So remember, each time that you pitch, that you have to make the best of the audience who is in front of you. Sometimes you are pitching in front of people who are absolutely not your target. Maybe, I don't know, you are in a pitch contest and you're talking about garage in front of everyone. But then explain to them what it feels like to be someone working in a garage, for instance, and find emotions that they can relate to. It's really important that you use the opportunity of a pitch to make people feel what it feels like to be a buyer. The second rule that people don't think about very much, but I really feel that it's really powerful, it's to align your emotions with your company culture. Most startups, when they start, they focus on their product to find the product market fit, and they don't think very early about their company culture, because obviously they don't have a company. but they are going to shape, their personality will have a strong impact on their company culture. And when you are pitching, there are also potential employees or co-founders in the audience. And so it's important for them to understand or to feel what kind of personality your company has. And for a consumer, you may not realize it, but we are very drawn to the company culture of a company. We feel the personality of the brand. For instance, Uber, to me, is a very masculine brand. And I use it, I don't mind, but it speaks to me. And I know that for some women I've talked with about Uber, they kind of feel uncomfortable about this company because it's a bit aggressive. And they wouldn't say it that way, but it has an impact. So I'm going to tell you later how to align emotion with your company culture. And third of all, that's something you probably are more aware of, but emotions, they are not just words, they're also, like Josh says, the way you present yourself. You don't have to be super beautiful or or really super well dressed. You can have your own style, but you have to be aware that your style is going to have an impact. So just think about it before you go on stage. So 8 steps to create stories that trigger action. So I'm going to list them first, and then I'm going to give you 2 examples and explore all 8 steps using these examples. So the 8 steps are working on the hook, so that how you start your pitch and create curiosity. Your value proposition, you have to make clear what you do, for what and how. So your story, we're going to go back to this. A demo is extremely useful to make people understand. Obviously, if you are pitching a product that is totally innovative, it's really useful to explain how it works and to make people feel the experience of using it. Facts, style, uniqueness, I'm going to insist on that later. And finally, the punchline. How do you finish your pitch, like George said, is extremely crucial because it's the last thing people will remember of you. So first use case, so this is Infinite. I'm curious to know how many people in the room know this startup. You do? Can you raise your hand? So okay, not that many people, but okay, they are French. They are a file sharing application. So it's kind of Dropbox, but it's peer-to-peer. So it's easier to share and more faster. So they were in Techstars New York City incubator early in 2014. And you may know at the end of Techstars there's demo day, like at the end of Y Combinator. And so people, startups preparing for demo day are trained for 1 month. And then they pitch in front of the internal jury of Techstars, and if they are not good enough, they don't go on stage. So usually, if you want to see good pitches, you go on Vimeo or YouTube, and you type Techstars, and usually they are really great pitches. So the 2 pitches I've chosen are from a Techstars startups. So I'm going, it's 5 minutes long. As you'll see, it's kind of, they're so focused on good pitches that they kind of create like a dramatic atmosphere around it. So each time someone pitches, there is a music, and there is one of the mentors that go on stage and explain why the startup is great, then music, then they go on stage. It's really like a movie. So I have to go online first.
Hi, my name is Mitch Wayner, co-founder and CMO of DigitalOcean, and 2012 Techstars alum. After graduating Techstars, acquiring over 150,000 customers, and raising over $40 million for a cloud hosting business, I know firsthand what it takes to win in a competitive market. The team I'm about to introduce has the chops to win. They built a great technology, they know great user experience and design, and ultimately, they know how to build a kick-ass product. That team and that product is Infinite, the definitive file-sharing application. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Julian Quintard, the CEO of Infinite.
Hi, musician!
Dropbox. Dropbox is considered by many as being a reference in terms of simplicity. It is true that Dropbox has managed to create a unique experience, allowing anyone to share a file in a few very simple steps. First, put the file into your Dropbox, then right-click, get a link, open a new email, type an email address, paste the link, send the email, and finally, wait. Wait, because you just don't know when the file will be received, or even if it is going to be received at all. That was easy, only 8 fucking steps. Now let me show you Infinite, a fast and beautiful application that allows sending files of unlimited size in just a matter of seconds. With Infinite, all you need to do is drag and drop the files and folders, select a contact, and click send. That's it. Done. 4 seconds. Clicking on the Infinite icon displays all of your contacts and transfers, and you are notified in real time when the file is retrieved on the other end. But receiving files is even easier. Just click accept, and the files will automatically appear in your downloads folder. No email, no link, no zip. Just plain and simple. Oh, and one more thing. Sending to the same people over and over again is just one click away. Drag, hold, and drop. Hi, my name is Julian, and this is Infinite. Infinite is not just about ease of use. Infinite is unlimited, allowing users to send files and folders of any size. Also, Infinite's peer-to-peer technology allows transfers to be at least twice faster than any existing solution. But more importantly, Infinite is seamless. Even if you close your computer or lose your internet connection, your transfers will never be canceled. When you come back online, they automatically resume. Finally, with Infinite, you are assured that all your files will be delivered no matter what happens. We accomplished a lot in the past 3 months. First, we turned our Mac prototype into a fully featured product that we publicly released a week ago. But we also launched a public beta on Windows because it happens that today, half our users are on this platform. Don't even ask me why. And today, we are launching a private beta or iOS app, allowing mobile users to send files to their friends or to another device through the same seamless experience. As you've probably guessed by now, we are French. Meaning that we are very cheap to keep alive. This extraordinary team managed to integrate an advanced technology coming from my PhD at the University of Cambridge into a beautiful and simple tool for everyone to use. And all of this in less than 90 days. So who said French were lazy? And our users love us so much that they recommend Infinite publicly and stop bothering with the existing tools. Because Infinite does everything better. Yeah, it's good. All the existing file sharing solutions rely on the same ancient and inefficient technology. Infinite is the only tool you will ever need to share any file of any size in any context across any device. Our peer-to-peer technology is really unique. This is why file sharing is just the first step towards a broader vision for our company. Oh, and we just closed $1.8 million in funding. So here's what I need from every one of you. When you get back home, install Infinite and stop wasting time sending your documents, photos, and videos around, and embrace true simplicity. My name is difficult to pronounce, and we are Infinite. Thank you.
So, isn't that great? So, just a quick survey. How many of you, after this speech, would at least check their website? Yeah, so you see, that's storytelling. So, I'm going to go through their old pitches, go back to every step to see how they did that. So, first, if you want to know more about them, actually they focus so much on storytelling that they have a blog on their website And if you want to know how to do good storytelling for your company, you could go and check their blog because it's really great. And they have told the full story of their Techstars experience. So if you are curious about it, you can also check it out. So, and in this blog post, I was really struck by this. They were telling the demo day experience, and they wrote that at one point, they felt that they wanted their culture to transpire in the presentation. So they said it was important for us to show our identity and make sure that the audience knew that Infinite was as much a brand and culture as it was a fun and useful product. And most pitches only focus on the product because you feel that it's what people expect from you, but they don't. They can expect much more. So you have to make the most out of it. So first, their value proposition. So the idea of the value proposition is not just to explain with just simple words what you do. You have to find a way to make it crispy, which means that in very few words, so that's really an important job for you, to find the perfect words to define your value proposition. So they said they are the definitive file sharing application. Okay, it's not that extraordinary or original. But then they say a fast and beautiful application that allows sending files of unlimited size in just a matter of seconds. So in their value proposition, you can kind of feel the experience already. You remember how long it is to send files sometimes. And they say a fast and beautiful. And I find it very interesting because when you think of file sharing applications, you don't think about beautiful. Like, why would he mention that it's beautiful? Because it makes them unique. And it's really important for you to share your vision, like I said in my own pitch. It's really crucial that they feel why you are doing all this, but also to create a unique personality for your brand. And when you see the CEO, you don't feel like he's like kind of a designer or a hip guy that really is focused on beautiful. But my guess is that he experienced that it was something that could make him different and that people will really love it. So they focus on that. So then I would advise you, as a second step when you craft your pitch, to focus on the punchline, meaning on the end. Because sometimes it will make things easier for you to know then where you want to start to go to this end. So a punchline is what people will remember at the end, or what you will want them to do. So he tells them, what I expect you to do when you come back home, it will install Infinite, etc. But he says it in a kind of funny way. So I feel that it's okay. Personally, I don't like when at the end of a pitch someone tells me, so now you should buy it, or go check my website, because I've heard your pitch, so if I want to do it, I will, of course. But just don't ask me to do it. I've heard a lot of marketers say that you have to make it obvious for people what you want them to do. But my experience with storytelling is that it kind of breaks the feeling or the mood at the end. So if you say it, just find either a playful or poetic way to say it, but avoid just saying it plainly. And I really love the end. My name is difficult to pronounce, and we are Infinite. I don't know how he came with this idea. My guess is that for 3 months in New York, he has experienced that it's hard for people to pronounce his name. But it's also a funny red line along the pitch about the fact that he's French. Maybe, I know that American VCs really value French engineers. They're supposed to be like one of the best. So maybe it's a way for him to make them remember that he's French, so he's not only cool and likes beauty and knows about beautiful things, but he's also a great tech guy. But it's also a reflection of another side of the company culture. They are playful. They like to be funny, And how many pitches have you seen where people dare being funny in a moment where you're supposed to be extremely convincing and competent and feel that, yeah, I'm the good guy to create this app or to conquer this market. But don't be afraid to have a really strong personality. I think it will make you very different from the rest. So then you go backwards and you start thinking, how do I start? So again, very original. They start by talking about their competitors. Of course, they're going to say that they are better than them. But how many pitches have you seen where people actually talk about their competitors? Usually they don't, because they are afraid that they will remember the audience that there is competition and they could choose someone else. But the idea behind this hook is that they had to do it because, and they tell this in the blog post, because everyone, when they say we are a file sharing application, everybody says, well, there is already a cool app for that. It's called Dropbox. So how are you different? So they have to move away the elephant in the room, I would say. So the big elephant is Dropbox. Okay, let's talk about Dropbox first. And then in the mind of the audience, not only are you reassured, okay, you are really different from Dropbox, I get it. But I feel that it also creates a connection, like, okay, this guy is daring, he's ballsy, he dares do things differently. So facts, when you choose facts, like Josh says, try to find shocking facts or wow facts. You don't have to put facts in if you don't find like really powerful ones. But here, he had to convince that it was really faster. So he chooses to compare itself to WeTransfer actually. And he says we are at least twice as fast. So it's kind of convincing. Then you have the demo. I don't go back to it. It's kind of... I think it makes you feel that the experience is really great. Then the style, like I said, their company culture is really about beauty. So they have to align the company culture with the pitch. So they make beautiful slides. They are really, you can really find that they are really crafted, meaning they spend a lot of time doing them. So it adds to their credibility and to their kind of spirit. So then the stories. The first way to tell a story is to tell about the user experience. So this is kind of the demo. They created the story around the demo. What I like about the way they did it is that they chose names that tell a story. They didn't say like Jean-Pierre is trying to send a file and he cannot, he takes 8 steps for him to do it. He doesn't name names, but he uses Mr. Fox a lot of time, which creates in the mind of the audience a reference to an imaginary. And he also uses Thomas Baumgartner, Bangalter, I don't know how to pronounce that. So it's, again? Daft Punk, right. So a French guy, really well known in the US, smart. Jane Campion, that's original, probably a movie director that they like. And it's also a way to say that their applications is really useful for people in the music industry who send really big files, in the movie industry who send really big files, and Mr. Fox. Yeah, I don't know him. TV series, okay. So it's about IT and it's about TV production, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Then another way to put a story in your pitch is to talk about your experience as a founder. So it just says very, it's kind of easy to do it that way, but it works. We spent 3 months doing this and that and that and that, to finally say, who said that French are lazy, which is another way to go back to playfulness, and to make it lighter than just stating, oh yeah, we are such great guys, we did this and this and this in just 3 months. Then he doesn't talk too much about it, but I want to mention it. Another way to put a story in your pitch is to talk about your mission. It's a story in the way that it points to a future. And so it helps people imagine how the world will be when you conquer it. And it just says in one sentence, it says, our peer-to-peer technology is really unique. This is why file sharing is just the first step to our broader vision for the company. And you feel that they have a great future. So go back to the uniqueness I was mentioning earlier. So the thing to really start thinking about what is unique about you, you can think of the values you are ready to fight for. And when I mean about values, it's not like family or work. It's emotional values. And in their case, and it's also, you can think also in terms of the truth you want to share with your audience. What is a truthful emotion that they feel that maybe they wouldn't say when you ask them what are your values, for instance. But to give you another example, Airbnb, they're talking about the need for people to connect. And when they go abroad, they wouldn't say, my values is that people connect with each other. It's really important for me, like kind of humanity. And in the case of Infinite, I would say that their values are beauty, which means that for them, it's important to stand for beauty. It doesn't mean that they are against ugliness. It just means that they think that the world is a better place if things are beautiful. Otherwise, why would they bother about making an app beautiful? It's just about file sharing. It's not about art or whatever. But they feel that it's something worth making efforts for. That's what I mean by what values are you ready to fight for. And playfulness. So here's the second use case. So another Techstars speech. The guy is a bit younger. He tells in his speech that it's his first experience. He's very, very young. And I will let you discover it. Okay. I will skip the intro because it's quite long.
I'm native, and here's Devin Tavona.
Hello, I am a millennial. There are 80 million of us, and we're starting to realize that we are not what we post, surprisingly, on the internet. We're not perfectly crafted status updates. We're not the airbrushed and filtered pictures. We're not even endlessly scrolling through our friends' newsfeed. In fact, Facebook lost 60% of their college market over the past 4 years because we are learning something that you already know. Life is lived by making yourself, not by marketing yourself. And making yourself doesn't happen on social media. Instead, we're made of the real world experiences that we have with the real people around us. Our most memorable experiences are those had in the real world, not in the virtual world. The legendary concerts, not the YouTube videos that we upload. The last-minute road trips, not checking in when we get there. The midnight adventures, not the Instagram photos that we hashtag. But today, these experiences happen completely randomly. We rely on word of mouth, tattered flyers that we might happen to pass by, or might completely miss opportunities altogether simply because we didn't know that they existed. Sometimes, this randomness results in serendipity. Sometimes it doesn't. What if we could drastically tip chance in our favor? What if you could always be in the right place at the right time? My name's Devin, and I'm the CEO at Native. And at Native, we're building a serendipity engine. See, we generate daily recommended activities to do and places to go, tailored and curated for the individual. From the second that you log on to Native, we start to get to know you. You authenticate with your favorite social networks so that we can bring your interests to life. Then we ask you a couple questions to get to know you better. These questions will periodically appear in your feed so that we can improve our recommendations to you. This is your first recommendation. As we scroll through, it becomes clear that this hike was recommended because the weather's great, your friends are available, and you love to spend time outdoors. Here's another. This yoga class is happening soon nearby, and you told us that you were interested in working out more. When serendipity strikes and the time is right, Native will let you know. This concert is trending now, happening soon, and matches your interests. Right from the app, you can listen to a preview of the artist, you can add it to your calendar, or even book tickets. Native also makes rallying your friends to go incredibly easy. With a couple taps, we match you with the best friends to bring, and with a single tap, we send a notification to all these friends. And with a swipe, they can say that they're interested too. Goodbye staring at your phone, and hello, adventure. So the core of our distribution is the inherent virality of our product. But we've also distilled the lessons of mobile successes into the space into 3 scalable strategies. First, we launch College Campus by College Campus, allowing us to focus on vibrant, prepackaged communities of young people. Second, we allow college campuses to compete to be the next received Native, meaning we launch with people who are already excited and engaged with our product. And when we do launch on a college campus, the product remains invitation only for the first several weeks, manufacturing scarcity and building demand. So we launched an alpha with the Leeds School of Business here at CU Boulder last month. And amazingly, we had 500 requests for an invitation in the first 2 days. That's over 20% of the business school requesting an invitation in the first 48 hours. And what's even better is that 4 weeks later, 30% of this initial user base returns week after week after week to use the application, proving that we can build sticky and engaging experiences for this demographic. But that's not enough. Our focus today is completely on product. But we've discovered that our data is incredibly useful and beneficial to both brands and the universities that we launch on, because it helps them understand this difficult to know and highly lucrative demographic. In fact, the first college campus that we piloted on paid us $25,000 for access to and analysis of our data, giving us early validation in the strategy. In the past 4 months, my co-founder, Leanne, and I have graduated with computer science degrees, built an MVP, were accepted into Techstars, and had our first paying customer. Native is the product. Thank you. Native is inherently a product built out of our own experiences and the thousands of conversations that we've had with young people like us. We were the first generation to be born on the internet. But that doesn't mean that we want to socialize only on the internet. These supercomputers in our pockets shouldn't be used as distractions from the real world, but instead they should be our 21st century compasses into the world around us. At Native, we're putting you in the right places at the right times. Thank you.
So, less funny. It was more on emotions. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Would you check the app on the App Store? Who would? Okay, great. So it doesn't exist anymore. They already have pivoted. They don't sell this anymore. It's totally different now. It's a travel agent assistant. And if you want to check it out, the second pitch, because he pitched to another place, it's even better. He's really a good one. So that's just something he mentioned in a video. So it's also about their experience at Techstars, and obviously, like I said, they focus a lot on pitches. And so his experience is that he said, he was saying, like, last week, We got to sit down with our entire team and draft out our core values. It solidified how we want to represent ourselves as a company. We came up with integrity, hustle, camaraderie, and play. So they, in the US, or in this incubator at least, they make startups at a very early stage. They just launched, like they had one customer. They ask them to think about their core values. What do you believe in? I think the values they chose are not, it's probably themselves, they really feel it. I wouldn't say that it's totally different from any other startup. I mean, who doesn't want to be about integrity? I don't know, you should say integer. Integer. About hustle means that you want to win your market. Camaraderie and play, like we are cool guys. But what I mean is that it's a very interesting exercise to think about your brand. So let's go back to the 8 steps. So first step, how do they define themselves in a crisp way? We are building a serendipity engine. So that's crispy, maybe not very clear. So they have to add, we recommend daily activities to do and places to go, tailored and curated for the individual. I would say that the first part is just very clear. And then when they say tailored and curated for the individual, to me, I don't know to you, maybe you have different perception, the word tailored makes me think of fashion. It's not just customization, it's not just personalized. There are so many words he could have chosen. To me, it says something about the spirit of his app. Anyway, I think the value proposition is really the one thing that you do over and over and over until you find the really perfect wording. So what did they want people to remember at the end of the pitch? We were, and he's really telling stories from A to Z. We were the first generation to be born on the internet, but that doesn't mean that we want to socialize only on the internet. These supercomputers, and he waves his iPhone, in our pockets shouldn't be used as distractions from the real world, but instead they should be our 21st century compasses into the world around us. At Native, we're putting you in the right places at the right time. So in this speech, it doesn't end with a call to action, like when you get back home, you should do this. It's more like an invitation to imagine the future we want to create. And it's a way to immerse yourself in the head of a whole generation, so it's really very inspirational. And it's smart because probably in the room there are not that many millennials. Probably there are a lot of investors that are over 30 or 40 years old. But they can connect with this generation that they don't understand. In the US, they talk a lot about millennials, like it's a special breed, special kind of animals. So he's really telling them, I know them, I am part of them, and actually that is hook. So he really creates a link between the beginning and the end, because it begins with a very original sentence, hi, I'm a millennial. And once again, he could have said, for instance, take Tom, he's 18 years old, he's doing this and that and that. No, he's embodying the millennial, so you kind of understand that he's part of this generation, but he's really telling you about a generation, not like some guys, some students. So it's like, almost like a political statement. We are a generation, like the Obama generation, etc. And on top of that, he's making fun, or he's kind of ridiculizing his own generation to explain later that he has a solution for them, to make them life better. So he used one fact just to explain how urgent his solution is. And it's really striking. I didn't know that Facebook lost that many students. Then, of course, he does a demo. The demo is really fluid and beautiful, like you just saw. And the way he explained the demo, As you can see, it's really different from how Infinite did it. Infinite was more describing the steps. And this guy at Native, he's telling really a story. Like, this concert is trending now, happening soon, and matches your interests. Right from the app, you can listen to a preview of the artist, you can add it on your calendar, and even book tickets. So it's not only a description of an experience, it makes you in the head of someone who is actually experiencing that. It creates magic. So the tone, well, I don't have to say much about it. I guess you felt it. It's really unique. I've not seen many pitches like this one. He creates an adventure, actually. He lets you know that living today can be an adventure, or it should be an adventure. So I'm going just to read it briefly. And he's also creating connection all the time with the audience, saying we, you. Like, we are learning something that you already know. Life is lived by making yourself, not marketing yourself. It's a very good marketing sentence. Making yourself doesn't happen on social media, etc. Okay, I'm not going to read it all. And I also like the tone of the visuals. They are very like trendy and hype. But what I like also, I find it interesting, is that this guy is very young. And I'm not that young. I'm always surprised that people, when they add filters like on Instagram, even when they're 18 years old, they feel the nostalgia of these photos, even though they didn't live in the 70s or the 80s. But it creates like a nostalgic feeling, a remembering that's really warm and makes you feel good about yourself. It's not just photos. It's like rememberings. So, once again, there is a user experience as a story. So I'm not going to go back on this, it's very clear. He's also telling his founding story, what he's experienced, that he just graduated with his co-founders. And he's also using his founding experience to tell, once again, that he's really part of a generation. And he's also, I find it also interesting, when he's talking about how he's going to conquer his market, he could have said, our data is incredibly useful and beneficial to both brands and universities, so we are going to sell our data to them. He just said, we discovered, like it was like all of a sudden. And once again, it creates a feeling of, okay, something is happening, and then this, and then that. And you want to follow the story. That's the important thing. And so, unlike, like I said, Infinite, who ended up the pitch by telling people, this is what you should do, and we are infinite, he ends up with an invitation, like I said, to imagine the future, and to imagine yourself in this future. What if is a very powerful beginning for a sentence. If you want to create this kind of feeling in your audience, you can start at one point in your pitch by saying, what if? Because it's the new world you want to create for them. So their uniqueness, to me, is beauty and adventure. It's just an app to discover places. But they make you feel like it's an app to go on an adventure and to live a more exciting life. And I think even in the way he expresses the pitch, or he talks, he kind of makes you feel that you are on an adventure. Like when he said, we discovered, like, my life is an adventure, and I think lives should be about an adventure. And it's also about beauty. So, just to make a point on this last idea about choosing your fight and knowing what are the values you are fighting for, here are a few values you can think about. Perfection, for instance, what kind of value is that? am I fighting for perfection? You can think of Nike as a brand who really embodies perfection. And what he means by that is that he's not telling you, okay, you do sports, but with my shoes, it's going to be easier, or you're going to just run faster because the shoes are great. In all their ads, the Just Do It ads, he keeps on saying, doing sports is really hard, but that's why you do sports. Because you like to suffer, but not just for the sake of suffering, because you know that if you don't suffer, you will not be better at what you do. And so he's embracing the fact that in life, we value effort, because we seek for perfection. And we know that it's worth it, that you can achieve great things in life, even outside of sports, when you really try hard and struggle for it. So that's one value. I could also talk about simplicity very briefly. Simplicity is about getting to the essence of things. For instance, IKEA, or Habitat, or Muji, are brands that are telling you, you don't need all the fuss about, funny cushions or very colorful paintings on your walls, or a little bit of this, little bit of that. All you want is just a table. But a table that it will be so simple, it will be the essence of the table. It will be the table. And you really feel that about products at IKEA. People don't think they are cheap stuff. They feel they are great stuff, even though they are not very expensive, because they know the company focuses just on making a simple thing perfect. So that's one value they stand for. They think in life, it's important to go back to basics sometimes, and to not forget about the essence of things. So final tips in conclusion. This one is obvious, but I have to say it. Crafting a great pitch is hard, so you should take as much time as you can and really rehearse it in front of someone, or just say to someone beforehand what you're going to say, to see if they connect or understand what you do. You can have great feedback with that. Also, make the most out of your strengths. If you are fun in life and you think playfulness is a value you want to stand for, be funny, you will create empathy, like Infinite showed you earlier. It's not awkward to be funny during a pitch. It can be really powerful. If you are passionate, it will drive energy. If you're a very, very genuine person, you will build trust. So think about your own emotions as a person and build on it. Even if you're a very controversial person, like you want to say, no, I don't agree. It's okay. You can build an entire pitch by standing for something that you feel that is unjust or not true, and you want to say it out loud. People who want to believe you, they will feel so strongly about you that you will make really strong supporters. So don't hesitate to do that. If it's that what you feel. Don't try to be, like that. Try to be like that. You can also embrace contrast between values. Like Infinite, they mix beauty with playfulness. So it's not usual to mix the two, but you can be both things. And finally, in conclusion, love your audience. I know that's really hard to craft a pitch because you feel that you have to sell yourself. So you feel that in front of you there are wallets. And you should think of people as human beings. You should look at them in the eyes and really feel that you love them and you want the best for them. And it will really motivate you to tell a story in a more emotional way. So really, when you think of your pitch, think of love. Thank you very much.